So get ready to take notes, lean in, be inspired, and please join me in giving a warm welcome to Master Coach Dave McGhee.
Well, thanks, Randy. Hello, everybody. I am excited to be here. There's a long been a synergy and collaboration between Equity and Buffini and Company. And I've been with Buffini and Company just under 20 years. And I'm proud to have known Tony Ketterling for about 10 of those years. And Tony's been a big advocate for Buffini and Company, as many of you know. He's been a member at Buffini and Company. He's been coached by Buffini and Company. And he has brought training from Buffini and Company to Equity. And he's also been very much a consultant and advisor to me and to the company. And so when Tony asked us to be here, we said, absolutely, couldn't wait. And I know he can't be here today, but I just wanted to let you know how excited I am to be with you today. And Randy made some bold promises, and I intend to keep them on today's in our time together today. In fact, I think they promoted this by saying 5 more transactions. That's the goal. 5 more transactions. And I know some people are sitting here going, hey, that's a normal month for me. And some people are going, I don't know if I've ever done that in a year. And so, but I want you to keep that number in mind, because it's a 5 additional transactions. So if you do 5 a month, we want 5 more by the end of the year. If you've never hit 5 in a year, we want 5 more by the end of the year. And you're going to do that by 2 things. Number 1 is that you're going to be intentional. And we're going to talk a lot about this. Most real estate agents and most business owners actually are not intentional. They're busy, they're trying to be productive, but that busyness is filling space and it's not intentional and optimized to what they want to hit. So we want to make sure you're clear on what you want to do and that we're optimizing your activity to hit it. The second part is leading. And never has it been more important to lead than in today's climate. There is a dearth. This is not a political statement. This is just true around. You can feel it everywhere you move. There's a dearth of leadership right now. And what your clients are craving is leadership. And we're going to talk about the state of the market. And obviously real estate's local. And so your market may be great and your market may not be great. But nationally, the market isn't great. And consumers are feeling that and agents are feeling that. And what people are craving right now is leadership. And so that's really the key to getting your 5 additional transactions, and the key to setting up your business plan for the next 90 days and beyond is to keep this in mind. You want to lead with intention. Lead with intention. Now, this is a part of the presentation where it becomes very evident that I am a Gen Xer, because I've got to switch over to the presentation deck and it's going to be a little bit cumbersome. So bear with me one second as I move on over and share my slide deck with you. So hopefully what you see is my smiling face and the title of today's presentation, which is Lead with Intention. And that's what we just talked about for a few minutes. We want to lead with intention. And when we do that, we're going to create a consistent lead in any type of market, good market, bad market, this market, we're going to do that. But I have a question for you first. I want to know what you think right now is the biggest challenge to your business. What is the biggest threat to your business right now? And I'm a coach by nature. So I'm not going to ask you a rhetorical question. I want you to think about it and I want you to write the answer out. What is the biggest threat to your business right now? I'm going to share with you what I think the biggest threat to your business is right now. What if I told you the biggest threat to your business is not the market? It's not interest rates. It's not inflation. It's not the economy. It's not politics. The biggest threat to your business right now is waiting. And right now, most agents are stuck in a dangerous pattern of waiting for the market to change, waiting for interest rates to change, waiting to find out if tariffs really do cause inflation, waiting. And while they wait, their business slowly erodes. And the statistics bear that out. Over the past year, 47% of all agents have sold 0 homes. Zero homes. 700,000 agents have sold zero homes over the past year. Now, while this is happening, clients coached by
Dave,
Buffini and Company. Yep.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. The keynote window is still up. Do you mind trying to click continue to share again?
Yep. Sorry.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Perfect.
Thank
Great.
you.
So luckily, none of these slides have been super important. We're getting into the important slides now. But 47% of all agents sold zero homes in the last 12 months. Meanwhile, Buffini and Company coach agents are having some of their best years ever. People like Pam Ellers from Nebraska, who in her first year in coaching closed 23 transactions and is working with 14 active buyers and sellers right now. Michelle Sparks, just 2 years in coaching. She beat her goal for the year last year, closed 24 transactions, having a great year so far this year. And Carrie Folletti, who's been in coaching with Buffini and Company for 20 years. It does not mean she's a slow learner. It means she's getting results. Had her best year ever last year in one of the worst markets historically. 47 transactions, 46 million in volume, 1.2 million in GCI. And this is the best part. She took an extra 100 days off. So what are these agents doing that other agents aren't doing? Well, they are leading their business with intention. That's the first thing. The second thing is they're taking control of their business. They're not waiting for the market to change, for interest rates to change, for world economics to change. They're taking control of their business. And they're focused on creating a consistent, high quality leads every single week. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But if I'm sitting in your shoes, I have two questions I'm asking. And the first question is, this is great, Dave, but why should I listen to you? And two, what are you going to try to sell me? So let's start with what I'm going to try to sell you. I'm going to try to sell you on an idea that you can have a great business even in a down market, that you can lead with intention and you can close 5 extra deals this year. That's what I'm going to try to sell you. And I'm going to give you the opportunity to meet with a business consultant at the end if you so choose. No filler, no fluff, no obligation, no sales pitch. That's it. That's what I'm going to try to sell you. Now, why should you listen to me? Well, we've talked a little bit about it, and I know most of you probably know about Buffini and Company, but I don't like to assume anything. So let me tell you a little bit about Buffini and Company and who I am. Buffini and Company has been in the coaching and training business for over 29 years now. We're now 30 years in business coaching and training, most of that in the real estate space. We've trained and coached more than 4 million people in 45 different countries. We've conducted well more than 2 million coaching calls, and that means more than 1 million coaching hours. Now, why is that important? That's important because what I'm going to share with you was not made up in a garage somewhere or with the help of AI, and now we're going to present it to you and try to sell you something. 2, 1 million coaching hours. The average coach at Buffini and Company has 15,873 coaching hours under their belt. 15,873 coaching hours under their belt. You've heard it said that 10,000 is mastery. So I get to work with a team of masters at what they do. And as I show you here in a minute, the results bear that out. But what I want you to think about, I've been with Buffini and Company for just under 20 years in various roles. I've coached for all 18 years. I'm now a master coach with Buffini and Company. I've been the vice president of coaching, leading the coaching department. I now consult for Buffini and Company. But when you're thinking of a coach, what do you think of? Now, some of you, when you think of a coach, you think of this: someone who's going to push you and drive you to be your best. Some of you, when you think of a coach, you think of this: someone who's going to put their arm around you and support you and encourage you. And I know a lot of you, when you think of a coach right now, you're thinking of this. And I like to say our coaches will help you buy many of those coaches. When I think of a coach, this is what I think of. This is a sampling of the 65 full-time certified business coaches on staff at Buffini and Company. And that phrase is important: full-time certified business coaches. Our business coaches are not part-time coaches and part-time realtors. Our business coaches are not part-time coaches and part-time marketers. Our business coaches are full-time certified business coaches. And I don't know about you, but I don't want my dentist to be a part-time dentist. I don't want my accountant to be a part-time accountant, and I don't want my coach to be a part-time coach. Like I said, I get to work with a team of masters, and the results bear it out. The average coached member at Buffini and Company earns 9 times the industry average. Now that's down a little bit from 10 times, but it kind of makes sense that it's down because we've all been experiencing this, the market's down. So in case you're new, or you just don't remember, or you're trying to put it behind you, in 2020, there were 5.6 million homes sold. That was just around the start of the pandemic. Now, for perspective, 5 million homes, that's a good number. If every year we could sell 5 million homes across the United States, everybody would be making a pretty good living as long as you were doing some real work. Well, COVID hit, and then you remember what happened. The government tried to stimulate the economy. Interest rates went down to below 3%. Everybody wanted to buy a house. They were buying it sight unseen. You couldn't get your clients to have an inspection. And we had a 20% increase in homes sold to 6.1 million. And people got used to that, and they thought that was a good market. Well, that was an inflated market. Again, normal is about 5, which is what happened to us in 2022. We went down to 5.1 million homes sold. Normal market. Didn't feel that way because that's a 20% reduction from what we were experiencing in 2021. But we said, okay, well, at least we're back to normal. So that's going to be good. But then 2023 happened. 4.1 million homes sold, the lowest amount of homes sold in 30 years. Couldn't get any worse, except that it did in 2024. When it says 4 million, we're being optimistic. The real number is 3.9 million homes sold in 2024. And guess what? The National Association of Realtors just put out their projections for the rest of the year. They think it's going to be below 3.9 million this year. So the fewest homes sold, we're tracking to the fewest homes sold this year in over 30 years. Now, you're saying, Dave, you're supposed to tell us how to get 5 more transactions. You're just depressing me. And in fact, many of you are experiencing this. And we know this because many agents in the country are experiencing this. Frustration, apathy, and burnout. Frustration because you're working hard. Burnout because you're working hard and not seeing the fruits of your labor, and apathy because at a certain point we can't take anymore. We feel like we're missing out on opportunities, and we've seen a loss of income and stability. Now, I can't see anybody, so I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand, but in your mind, raise your hand if that feels true to you. Well, we're going to flip that page today. Turn the book over. Here's what we're going to today. We're going to focus on generating consistent and predictable leads, becoming the leader your clients need right now, and positioning yourself to dominate in this market and any market. If you're intentional, you'll regain control of your business. You'll position yourself to dominate now and when the market does shift. Here's what I don't want you to do. Don't wait for the market to shift. People have been waiting for 3 years. Remember this slide? People have been waiting for the market to shift since 2022, and it's been continually going down. So don't wait. So generate a consistent and predictable leads, become the leader your clients need you right now, and position yourself to dominate. We're going to start with number 1, and this is probably the most important concept that you need to get. You need to lead your business with intention. I don't want you chasing leads. I want you attracting leads. And you attract leads when you lead with intention. So I'm going to take you out of the real estate business for a minute because it's tough to see the forest for the trees when you're mired in it every single day. I want you to imagine you're a pilot. Imagine you're flying an airplane. Now, when you're flying an airplane, you don't always have perfect conditions. In fact, much of the time, the conditions are not optimal. Much of the time, you're flying into headwinds. Much of the time, you're experiencing turbulence. But the plane is built to fly in turbulence. The plane is built to fly in headwinds. The plane is built to fly in suboptimal conditions. And the pilots can rise above the turbulence by focusing on their instruments, the flight path, but not the weather. Right now, too many agents are focusing on the weather. And what we want you to focus on is your flight path, your goal, and the instruments, what the market and your activity are telling you. So what I want you to do is we need you to start to look at your dashboard right now. And I want you to get a sense. Here's the other thing about a pilot. A pilot can't get to the destination unless they know where they're going, right? Well, we know where we're going. 5 more transactions by the end of the year, or 5 additional transactions. The other thing a pilot can't do is they can't get to that destination if they don't know where they're starting from. Imagine this. You've been blindfolded in a city, and then you've been driven around for 3 hours and taken onto a plane, and the blindfold is taken off and they say, fly to Dallas. Well, you know where you're going, but you don't know where you're flying from. How are you going to get there? And what's the likelihood of you getting there? So we need to know where we're going, clear goal. We need to know where we're starting from. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to be honest with yourself right now. And I want you to assess where you are in your business using these 4 prompts. Some of you are just hoping. You're hoping to finish the year strong. You're hoping to hit your goal. You're hoping that the market might change. And that's fine. If that's where you are, make a little note that you're in the just hoping stage. Some of you are playing defense. You're actually busy doing work, but you're waiting for that other foot to drop. And you're not playing full out. You're playing a little bit defensively. Some of you are killing it right now, but it's a struggle. Every single day is a siege. And some of you are in a place where you're in complete command and in complete control of your business. So where are you right now? Just make a mental note, because where you are is the starting point. We're going to get you to the in command quadrant. And if you're in the in command quadrant, we're going to help you pour some gas on the fire. But here's what that means. If you're in one of these areas, it actually means something, because the axes are important. So the vertical axis is commitment. The horizontal axis is a plan. If you find yourself just hoping, what that means is you don't really have a solid plan. You may have a plan, but it's not a solid plan. And your commitment level to the plan isn't what it needs to be. It doesn't mean you're uncommitted, but you may not be committed to your plan. If you're playing defensive, you've got a plan, but you're still waiting for that other foot to drop, you're not 100% committed. If you're struggling, your commitment's high, your plan is letting you down. And if you're in command, you've got a good plan and solid commitment. And it's important to know where you are right there, to know what you need to adjust. Do you need to adjust the plan? Do you need to adjust your commitment? Do you need to adjust both? Or do you just need to put some gas on the fire? So that's where you are. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about what every single business in the world has in common. And that's this. Every single business starts with a vision. You didn't get into business for yourself. You didn't wake up one day and just say, hey, I think I want to be in business for myself. There's a reason you wanted to be in business for yourself. You had a vision of a better life, a vision of a better experience. And that was driven by 3 things. And we know this to be true because it's true for everybody. Money. Now that could show up in a lot of different ways. It may show up as growth. It may show up as momentum. But for most business owners, they want to make more money. Secondarily, you want to have an impact. You don't want to just go to work every day and make some money. You want to have an impact on your family, on yourself, on your community, in your world. You want to have an impact. And then lastly, you got in business for yourself because you want a little bit of freedom. You don't want to have to be beholden to the boss every single day. You have a vision, you want to make more money, you want to have more impact, and you want to have more freedom. So what gets in the way of that? Well, what gets in the way of impact and money is not enough leads. What gets in the way of money and freedom is not enough sales. What gets in the way of freedom and impact is not enough time. So again, where are you on this? Do you not have enough leads? Do you have plenty of leads, but you just aren't converting them? You have plenty of leads and you're converting them, but you just don't have any time. One of those is your biggest challenge. I want you to red, yellow, green that. Like if you have a ton of leads, you're green. If you have some leads, but not as many as you want, you're yellow. If you have no leads, you're red. Where are you in leads? Red, yellow, or green? Where are you in sales? Red, yellow, or green? And where are you in time? Red, yellow, and green. Now, Buffini and Company This is what we work with our clients on, all of these. We have a system for all of these. So if you don't have leads, here's what you need to focus on. Generating leads every single week. Now, if you're a team leader or you're running an office, change weekly to daily. Generating leads every single day or week, or a day if you're a team leader or running an office. If you're an agent, generating leads every single week. Sales. You got to be focused on closing sales every single month. Again, as a team lead or an office, you're focused on how many sales you're closing every single week. And then on time, you want to focus on effective systems. So I'm going to start here with closing. We're going to spend most of our time on the generate leads every week because we know that's the single biggest problem most agents have. If we can solve that problem, the other two problems are going to pretty much take care of themselves. But if you are in the area where you're generating leads all the time, you're just not closing enough sales, here's what you need to focus on. You need to focus on your pipeline management. You need to focus on understanding your client's motivation. 3.9 million homes, that's what I'm on track to sell this year. It doesn't mean people don't want to buy and sell. People are absolutely motivated to buy and sell right now. They're just fearful. But you have people that have life circumstances, job transfers, divorces, new babies, and their house are going. They have to move into a new home. And so it's very important to understand your client's motivation. And then you want to remove friction. There's friction everywhere to a transaction today. What can you do to remove friction? If you don't have time, you want to focus on effective systems, and you need to make sure you have these systems in place: time management, financial management, and exceptional service. And if you don't have leads, which is where we're going to spend most of our time today, you want to be focused on growing your database. You want to be focused on leading the market. And there's two meanings to leading the market. And then you want to be focused on generating demand. As I said, we're going to spend all of the rest of our time on growing your database, leading the market, and generating demand. If you say that, I'm great there, I need to work on closing more sales and having more effective systems, I'm going to encourage you to take that business consultation that I offer you at the end. And when you get on that, talk to the business consultant about closing more sales or having more systems. But we're going to solve your lead generation problem today. And we're going to do that by our second point. So you need to lead your business. Second point, you need to take control of your business. So again, let's look at it. Generating leads every week. We're going to focus on growing your database. This sounds a lot like calls, notes, and pop buys from the Buffini and Company people. Yes, but here's the deal. It's what works. We talked a little bit about Pam Ellers. Well, what did Pam Ellers, Michelle Sparks, and Carrie Folletti all have in common? Why are they killing it when the rest of the nation seems to not be? It's because their coaches had them focus on their database. And it's the one thing right now that none of us wants to focus on. And we're chasing leads every other place. And how could AI help? Now, listen, we're for AI. In fact, we have an AI training program that is soon to launch. But you can't chase that at the expense of your database. What Carrie Folletti, Pam Ellers, and Susan all have in common is they understand referral math. So let me share some referral math with you. Last year, 4 million homes sold, the lowest in 30 years. That's bad news. But let's put it in perspective. In the United States last year, and I know we have people all over North America, but I'm going to stick with the United States numbers. In the United States last year, there were 120 million households. 120 million households, 4 million sold. What that means is 3% of all households bought or sold a home last year in the worst market in 30 years. Okay. So there's another concept that you need to understand, and that's this. Gallup has studied relationships and how many people most people have in their relationship base. And there's numbers that range anywhere from 150 to 250. What that means is most of us have relationships with about 150 to 250 people. If you look at your phone and scroll through your phone right now, what you would probably see is 150 to 250 contacts. Now, as a realtor, you probably have more because you've built up a database. You've been intentional about it. But let's stick with what Gallup tells us to be true. Most people know 200 people. Okay. 200 people. 3% of all United States residents, homeowners, bought or sold last year. That means in your database, 3% of your database bought or sold a home last year. That's 6 people who were buy or sell a home in the lowest market in 30 years. Now, some of you are going, oh, 6, I like that number. Some of you are going, I can't eat on 6 deals. But here's where the math gets great. The 200 people that you know 200 people. That's 40,000 people that you're 1 degree of separation away from. 3% of 40,000 is 1,200 potential leads in the worst market in 30 years. This is why Pam Ellers and Carrie Folletti are having great years, because they're focused on where the business is done. You have if you just know 200 people, and you probably know more, and if the market stays about the same or even declines a little bit, the difference between 4 and 3.9 million is going to be statistically insignificant. There are 1,200 potential leads that you have access to right now, 1 degree of separation away from. And my gut says you don't need 1,200 transactions. My gut says there's 5 transactions in those 1,200 leads. And here's what we know. For the last 30 years, since they've been keeping these stats, one way, shape, or form, every single year, 80% of all transactions are either repeat business or referred business. Now, you're going to hear some people say, hey, referred business is 60%. And what they're trying to say is, what are you going to do? You can't live on 6%. You got to chase all these other leads. They're talking just about referred business, not repeat business. Repeat and referred business is 80% of all transactions. It's been that way for the past 30 years. So if you're focused on the people who know you, like you, trust you, and want to refer you, you have access to 1,200 potential leads, and you only need a handful of them the rest of the year. Now, this is where we need to go, because some of you are going, great, I'm going to throw 1,000 names in my database, and I'm just going to blast email people. Let me define what a database is for you. A database is a list of relationships. These are people who you know and who know you. If somebody opts into your newsletter, but you don't know them, they may know of you, but you don't know them. That's not your database. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a newsletter and you shouldn't have a list of people that you're cultivating to move into your database, but your database are people who you know, and they know you. And most often you're going to have at least a phone number from these people, and probably their physical address, and then an email address. And that's how you determine if they're really a list of relationships or not. So let's talk about how you work your database. I want you to think, we had to be a pilot. Now let's make you a farmer. A farmer who wants a harvest doesn't just wait for the crop. They prepare the field, they plant the seeds, they nurture those seeds daily, and over time, they have a crop that they harvest. Your database is your field. You need to be nurturing that database. You need to be watering that database, but you also need to be planting seeds in that database. It means you need to be building your database. One of the biggest mistakes I see with most realtors right now, particularly people who've been in business a long time, is they have a database that has served them well for a number of years, but they haven't been intentional about growing it, putting new relationships into the database. And so that's the first thing we want to do. We want to be focused on growing your database. If you're not planning by adding people and nurturing relationships every day, you can't complain when there's no harvest. Agents who skip this are like farmers who look at an empty field, hoping the crop will magically appear. Now, how you build your database is going to depend on what stage of business you're in right now. And there are typically 4 stages of any business. There's the startup phase, there's the building phase, there's the growth phase, there's a scaling phase. There's actually a 5th phase, the exit phase. But we're going to be focused on these 4 because this is where most of you are in the stage you're building in some category. And so take inventory of where you are and what the next level is for you, because where you are is we want to make sure we have the foundation, and then we want to be building for the next level. So are you a startup? Are you building? Are you growing? Are you scaling? If you're in the startup and building phase, here's who should be in your database and who you should be focusing on adding more of. family, friends, social media network. I'm going to stick with those three. Now, you will have some neighbors in there. You may have some business owners that you frequent their business. You may have some current clients and past clients. So we're going to show you in a minute. Current clients and past clients are the best part of your database. But if you're in that startup phase and build phase, you've been in business for less than a couple of years, you're making less than $100,000, most of your database is going to be family, friends, and social media network. You want to be intentional about making sure that you continue to add from that and then supplement with neighbors, businesses you frequent, current clients, and past clients. If you are in the growing phase in your business, well, now the database shifts a little bit. Your number one focus needs to be your current clients and your past clients. Then business associates and your vendor list, and then businesses you frequent. You're going to see family, friends, social media, neighbors. They're still there, but they're going to be a supporting part of your database. In Buffini language, we're going to call those people Bs. The most valuable part of your database in the growing phase are your current clients. Your current clients are the most likely people to refer you. Here's why. They're telling everybody they know what they're doing. And a percentage of the people they know want to do that too. So are you cultivating referrals from your current clients? Well, if you have somebody who's buying a home, they're telling everybody that they know that they're looking to buy a home. And part of their database says, I want to buy a home too. That's a perfect person to refer you to another client. In fact, when we're coaching people, our goal is that you get 2 referrals for every client you're working with during the time that you're working with them up to 90 days out past the transaction. The second most likely people to refer your business are your past clients. Why? Because they've worked with you. They know what you do. And so that's the focus. If you're in that growth stage, which by the way is probably most of the people on this webinar, it makes up 60% of all small businesses are in the growth phase at any given time. You want to be focused on your current clients, your past clients, your business associates, and your vendor list. Those are people who make money when you make money. It's the most forgotten part of a database. Well, I'm not going to talk to my lender because they know 50 realtors. Well, guess what? All 50 realtors say that, and nobody's talking to the lender. So your business associates, your vendor list, businesses you frequent. So your hairstylist, your chiropractor, who, by the way, are talking to people 8 hours a day. When somebody's thinking about moving or buying, guess who they're telling? Their hairstylist and their chiropractor. So the business you frequent. And then you still want to stay in touch with the family, friends, social media, but you're looking at building your current clients, past clients, business associates. And then if you're in that scaling phase of your business, this is where you're building out a team of people. The list is going to, it's only about 18% of all businesses are in the scale phase, by the way. About 20% of all businesses in the startup and growth phase, 60%, 64% are in the growth phase. So that's most people. And then about 18% are in the scale phase. If you're in that scale phase, building a team, building an office, here's what you want to focus on. Your current clients are still your best bet. Your past clients are going to move down the list a little bit because you're going to focus now on your advocates. We call these A+ people in your database. They're the people that they are, no matter what you do, they are trying to help you. Business leaders in your community, and then community influencers. So if you're in that scaling phase, that's your number one focus to add people to your database right now. You're still going to be in touch with your past clients, business associates, family, friends. You get the idea. But where you are in the stage determines where you want to focus to add to your database. So the first key in generating leads every single week is to, well, number one, make sure you've got a database. Number two, make sure you're intentional about staying in contact with that database. And number three, you're intentional about growing that database and who you're growing that database with. So whatever phase you're in, you want to plant and build for the next phase. So if you're in that startup or build phase, you're spending most of the time with your family, friends, and social media networks. You want to start leveraging your current and past clients. If you're in that growing phase, you want to start reaching out to some community influencers. And if you're in that scaling phase, you want to keep building with business leaders and community influencers in your community. Make that your target for the next 30 days. Set a goal. How many people do you want to add to your database in the next 30 days and in what segment? The more specific you can get, the more likely you are to hit that goal. And then that's going to take us to the last part of our presentation. So we've just laid the foundation. But to generate leads every single week, you need to have consistent, high quality leads. Our goal is to generate high quality leads every single week. How many depends on your business. What we're working with for every referral they generate, and we measure referrals because they're high quality leads, much higher than a sign call, much higher than a social media follow. Now, I've kind of minimized social media. Social media is great if used properly in a way to connect with people and develop relationships. But what we've seen, if you're focused on high quality leads, the people in your database, the people that know you, like you, and trust you, you'll get a transaction for every 3 leads that you generate. And you'll get a lead for every 20 contacts that you make. So if you want to generate 5 new transactions, you need 15 new leads. And to get 15 new leads, you need 300 contacts. It comes down to simple math. So let's talk a little bit how we make that math work for us. We've talked about growing our database. I'm going to combine the next 2 sections of generating leads weekly into lead the market and generate demand. Now, lead the market means 2 things. Number 1, you want to be the market leader. You want to be the person that everybody in your market thinks about. I'll tell you how to do that in a minute. And then this is the most important, and this is what people are craving right now. You need to lead your market. You need to lead the people in your market and the people in your database to do what they want to do. People want to buy, they want to sell, they're a little bit scared. Now is a great time to buy or sell because there's no competition on either side. We've never seen this before. And people want to. They need some leadership to help them get there. We're going to show you a little bit on how you can do that. And then generating demand is to get the people to raise their hand and say, yes, I want your help. So how do you do that? Here's what most people do. Most people are on a treadmill, chasing cold leads, employing random tactics. It's like running on a hamster wheel. A lot of effort, no real momentum. We want you to get off the hamster wheel and get onto a different type of wheel, a flywheel. And if you know what a flywheel is it takes a lot of effort to get going. But once it gets going, it spins, and its momentum creates more momentum. And consistency over time replaces frantic activity. And that's the premise behind the Buffini and Company working by referral system. So we've talked about your database. Now we want to make sure that database becomes a flywheel. If you have 200 names and you're randomly contacting 200 people, that's like being on a hamster wheel. We want to make sure that you're creating momentum where the database itself creates more momentum. So the first thing I want you to do is to look at your database, and I want you to rate them on the likelihood that they will refer you. I'm going to put this down because you can use this sort. This is the sort we use at Buffini and Company. You can come up with your own sort. It doesn't really matter. Here's what matters is that you've prioritized the people in your database by their likelihood to refer you. So in our world, when we're working with a client, we're going to ask our clients to identify who are their A+ people in their database. And A+ are your best repeat customers, meaning they're using you many over and over and over and over again, or, and it should say or, someone who has sent you multiple referrals. Often your best repeat customers are sending you multiple referrals too. But if when I was selling real estate, my cousin was an investor, never used me because he didn't want to pay a commission, but he referred me over and over and over and over again. He was an A+ for me, even though he never used me because he referred me. A lot of people get caught up with that person's not using me. They're not an A+. No, it's or somebody who sends you multiple referrals. Your A's, all of your past clients, or people who send you occasional referrals. Those are A's. Again, a big mistake we see a lot is people not keeping in contact with their past clients. And part of it is this fear that, oh, the transaction didn't go that smoothly. And I don't want them to think that the only reason I'm keeping in contact with them is because I'm trying to get money from them. We're going to talk a little bit about that mindset here in a minute. But your past clients are A's. They've used you. When a transaction goes south, that's good for you because they get to experience your leadership. I've never experienced a transaction that didn't go south somewhere. In fact, I used to hate, in California, we were an escrow state. I used to hate when we got to the close of escrow and nothing went wrong in the transaction because I knew it was happening during escrow. And so Your clients love that because you exhibit leadership. So your past clients are A's, or people who refer you occasionally. Most of your database are going to be B's. They're people who know you, they like you, they would refer you if you asked them, they showed them how, and they knew somebody. That's essentially your sphere of influence. And then when you're first adding somebody into a database, it's a C. Somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn yesterday and said they wanted to connect. This is how you use social media. I don't know this person, but it could turn into a relationship for me and somebody that I turn into my database. So I accepted their connection request, and then I asked them a question to try to engage them in conversation. That's a C for me right now. I don't know if they're going to be somebody that's good for me. I don't even know if I'm adding them to my database yet. If they don't respond in a week, I'm removing the connection. If they respond and we develop a conversation, then I might ask them a question that allows me to move them into my database. So C's are new additions to your database. Whatever you use, I want you to prioritize your database by who's most likely to refer you, to would refer you, if you stayed in contact with them over time, but you're unsure if they'd likely refer you right now. Because you want to stay in contact, you're going to run out of time. You can't, it's hard to talk to 200 people every single month. You want to make sure you're talking to your A pluses and your A's every single month. If you talk to your B's once a quarter, great. If you have time and you talk to your B's once a month, you're going to have more B's upgrade to A, meaning they'll use you, but or refer you. But you want to make sure that you're talking to your A pluses and your A's every month. And you can't do that if you don't properly sort your database. And then once you know what your database is, here's the key. You just need to you need to do these three things. You know, people think about Buffini and Company and they go, oh, you're the calls, notes, and pop buys people. And that makes sense because we've been talking about calls, notes, and pop buys for 30 years. So it's good that people know us that way. But people think that's our system. And I'm going to tell you that's not our system. Those are tactics of our system. Our system starts with a philosophy, and that philosophy is this: give, ask, receive. So the working by referral system is, hey, I want to have this group of people who know me, like me, trust me. Frankly, they want to refer me. I like them. I'd like to get their referrals, and I want to give value to them. And as I give value to them, I want to put myself in a position to ask them if they know of anybody else I can serve. And then once I ask them, I want to be open to receiving. And you have to have all three of those. If you're not giving and you're just asking and looking to receive, you're not going to get many referrals. If you're giving and giving and giving and giving, but you're not asking, or worse, you're asking, but you got kind of give them the Heisman every time somebody wants to use or refer you, you're not going to get many referrals. So the first part of the Buffini system is the philosophy. Give first, ask for an opportunity to serve, and then put yourself in a position to receive and be grateful when it's opportunity to receive. The second part of the system is the strategy. And to me, this is the most important part. This is the part that people miss. The strategy is not calls, notes, and pop buys. Calls, notes, and pop buys are tactics. The strategy is contact, care, and community. That's how you leverage a business. You have a database of people who know you, like you, and trust you. You stay in contact with them on a regular and frequent, consistent basis. Mailing a magazine once a quarter is not contact. Mailing something of value every single month, that's contact. Calling somebody once in a while is not contact. Calling your A pluses every single month, that's contact. Now people get caught up, well, can I text? Yes, it's contact. If you text, here's what's going to happen. If you text, you're going to get a quicker response because people don't answer their phones anymore. Heck, if my parents called me, I don't answer. I let it go to voicemail. I call them back when it's good for me. If they text me, it's going to take me 30 minutes to text them back. So text is a good contact. But know this, you're not going to do business over text. You eventually have to have a voice-to-voice conversation. But any form of contact that's consistent and frequent counts. So contact. Number two, care. If you just contact people without exhibiting any care, they're going to know it. You're not going to generate any leads. You got to exhibit care. And that's where the personal notes and the pop buys come in for Buffini and Company. The reason is this: when you write a personal note to somebody, it takes your most valuable asset, your time. When you go pop by somebody face to face, it takes your most valuable asset, your time. So the way you exhibit care is time. In our system, it's writing personal notes and popping by people. And I heard this quote the other day and I thought it was great. I don't even know who said it, but it's this: You cannot put more time in your life. So you have to put more life into your time. That's what happens when you write personal notes and get face-to-face with people, particularly in a time when they're craving leadership. So contact, care. The last piece is community. And almost everybody is craving community right now. You've seen it pop up over and over and over again. The big thing in the training space is cohorts. Like, you don't even get to meet the coach you're working with. You're just going to be in a group of 25 people, because that's what people are craving right now, community. So you want to foster community too. The way we do it within the Buffini and Company system is client parties, business mixers, and then we say breaking bread. So it's getting people together for a lunch or a dinner or a coffee. Ideally, you're doing that a couple of people at a time, because here's what happens when you build community. Let's say you have a client party, a small one. You're going to invite 20 people to your client party. What every single person has in common is you. And what every single person is going to talk about is you. And they're going to talk about how you got them through a rough transaction. And they're going to talk about how they didn't even know that was the house they loved until they got it. And now they can't imagine they're not living in that house. And they're going to talk about you. And that's going to lead to referrals. So contact, care, and community. The tactics: mail, e-reports, that's email, but we don't want to spam people over email. We want to make sure they're high value. And then calls, text, anything that's a contact. Just know eventually you got to have a voice-to-voice conversation. Now, how you implement this is going to depend on where you are in your business. There's a sequence to success in everything we do. There's a sequence to success in business, just like there's a sequence to success in health. In anything you do, any new goal you try to pursue or any goal you've been pursuing for a while, you will always start in survival. And the next step, the next camp, base camp, if you will, is stability. And then from stability, success, and then success, maybe significance. Now, what do we all want to do? We want to go from survival to success in one jump. Can't do it. You cannot do it. You have to go through stability. If you happen to experience success from survival, you're quick to fall back down. Here's the other thing to know about this ladder of success is even if you're in significance, you can fall all the way down the ladder. You don't have to fall back to significance, then stability, then survival. You can go straight from significance to survival. So know that at any given time, you may have been successful and now you're experiencing survival. That's okay. To get yourself back up the ladder, you got to go through stability to success. Here's the differentiator in this, is to get from survival to stability is a habit. So when I'm working with a new client, I'll say, where are you in your business? And they'll typically say, oh, stability to success. And I'll say, great. So how often do you call people in your database? And they go, oh, sometimes. Well, that's survival. Because to get from survival to stability is a change of habit. And they don't even have a habit in place. So when we're working with people, let's just say on mailing. If you're in survival, I don't care what you mail. I really don't. What I want you to do is get in the habit of mailing something every single month to people in your database. When you're in survival, I want you to call people. I don't care what you say. I just want you to get in the habit of calling 5 people every single day. You just call them, check in how they're doing. In fact, that's what I would do even if I was in significance. And I'll talk a little bit about why in a minute. But get in the habit. When you get from stability to success, when you're in stability, now you want to move to success. It's a change of mindset. So now I'm not just mailing something every single month. I'm mailing something that's going to resonate with my clients every single month. What do most realtors mail? Just listed, just sold, me. What do clients care about? Them. So for example, we identified that one of the top 10 reasons people are buying or selling over the last couple of years is they're relocating. They're relocating to get closer to their family. They're multi-generational home. They're moving people into them. So they need a bigger home. They need a smaller space, you name it. Because of COVID, most people need bigger homes because they're all working from home now. So you're mailing something about relocating, not about real estate, something that's of value to them. It gives you a reason to call and say, hey, did you get my mailer? Do you know anybody who's relocating? Maybe they say us, maybe they say my neighbor, maybe they say nobody, but they get something of value to them. And then you follow up with a call. Now, from success to significance, that's a change of heart. So if I'm let's use calls as an example. I want you to get in the habit of just calling 5 people a day. Then once you're calling 5 people a day, what I want you to do is make sure mindset. I'm going to call the 5 most important people to my business today. Who's an A plus I haven't talked to in the last 30 days? Who's an A I haven't talked to in the last 30 days? And I'm going to check in with them. And the conversation I'm going to have is very similar. Hey, how you doing? How's the family doing? What's going on at work? Any big dreams going on? What's going to happen is the minute you say what's going on at work, they're going to reciprocate and go, well, what's going on with you? It's your opportunity to talk about real estate. The one thing everybody that you talk to has in common is they either own or want to own a home. And so it's going to come up. So you're just having a conversation. In the beginning, it's habit. 5 people, just have a conversation. I don't care about what or to who. Stability, success, 5 people, but I'm calling the people most likely to refer me first. And I'm having an intentional conversation that will get to business. Success to significance is a change of heart. Now I call people because it's who I am. I don't even think about the business, and the business just starts running in. I don't think about how many people I'm calling today because I'm calling 15, 20, 30 people a day because it's who I am. That's the sequence of success. So as you can see, it's a simple system, right? Here's the deal. You build a database of people who know you, like you, and trust you. You stay in contact with those people every single month. You exhibit care every time you get an opportunity to, and you bring them together in community. It's a simple system, and when you work it, we've seen it over the past 30 years, it works for you. But what gets in the way? Well, I mean, I want you to think about it. Before I can say what's getting in the way, just imagine this. How would you feel if every day you were connecting with people who knew you, like you, and wanted to refer you? And how would it feel if every day you had a steady stream of high quality leads coming into your business every single week? And how would it feel if you were excited to work with the people who you were working with, and they were excited to work with you because they were referred to you by someone who cares about them? That would feel great. Each and every one of us would want that. What gets in the way are 3 things. What gets in the way is our mindset, our motivation, and our methodology. And this is where coaching comes in. At Buffini and Company, we have a simple system, and we have training programs to help people implement a simple system. It's simple, not easy. And most of the people who come to us know, okay, I know I need to be doing that, but my database is not that good, or they're gonna get tired of hearing from me, or I feel like I'm taking something from them. That's all mindset. So mindset, motivation, methodology. If you have a strong motivation and a good methodology, but your mindset isn't right, you're gonna experience doubt. If you have strong motivation and a good mindset, but your methodology isn't right, you're going to see progress, but it's going to be slow. If you have a good methodology and a good mindset, but your motivation isn't there, you're doing a lot of busy work. But when your motivation, your mindset, and your methodology all come together, that's where achievement lives. And so that's what we work on with people at Buffini and Company, is we get the system installed into their business. And then we help them with their motivation, their mindset, their methodology. Motivation comes down to vision and goals. Methodology comes down into systems. And mindset is about examining the limiting beliefs you have about yourself and your business and your database, trying on several other different beliefs, and then choosing the one that's going to be the most beneficial to you. Now, at Buffini and Company, we have one more little secret tool. We call it Real Strengths. We put you through a psychographic assessment so we know what your motivators are. And then we adapt our system so that we can keep you motivated. We adapt our system so you're leveraging your natural strengths so that you stay in an empowered mindset versus a limited mindset. And we adapt the system so that the methodology works to the way you're naturally wired. So I'm going to stop here in just a second. I'm going to ask you any questions you have. Like I said, I'm a coach at heart, so I want to answer as many questions as you have. Now, here's what happens when we ask questions: is people will have them, but they don't want to be the first one, and so we get quick crickets. I want to answer your question. Something resonated with you, or something didn't sit right with you, or you're struggling with mindset, motivation, or methodology. Let's spend the next 10 minutes fixing that. But what I want you to know is, if you know what you should do, and you know how to do it, and you haven't been doing it, or if leads is not your problem, but sales conversion or systems is your problem, I would love for you to take advantage of a free business consultation from Buffini and Company. You do it by going to buffiniandcompany.com/BC, stands for business consultation. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to get clear on your vision for what you really want. Again, we talked about intention to start this. You're going to get clear on your vision so you can have a firm intention. You're going to uncover what's holding you back. We all have limiting mindsets. We're going to help identify that and help you choose an empowered mindset. You're going to see what's working for others, like Pam Ellers and Carrie Folletti, and you're going to discover your next steps that are specific to you. It is a consultation. If you choose to want to work with us, great. We would love to work with you. But if you get on that call for 30 minutes with a business consultant, you're going to have some steps that you can leave and implement right now into your business. So I'm going to encourage you to take that business consultation. And Randy, with that, I'm going to stop sharing and see if we have any brave souls who want to ask questions or try to stump me. Either way, I'm good.
Well, you can raise your hand or unmute. You can also type your questions or challenges in the chat. And I know that Dave can answer those. While we're waiting for those questions to come in, I just want to thank Dave for the amazing time that he spent with us today. I took a ton of notes. I really loved learning more about the referral math, who to have in my database, the 3 C's, and really a game plan heading into the end of the year with contacting 5 people a day. And Kevin Green is asking in the chat, how do you create a newsletter with valuable content?
Oh, that's a good one. Hey, Kevin, can you unmute and come on the screen? Because it'll be, instead of giving a generic answer, I can give a specific, you don't have to turn your camera on if you're in a place where you can't, but can you chat with me or no?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing?
Awesome. Good. So are you sending out a newsletter consistently?
No, I'm trying to change my whole game into a new direction to be able to work with sellers and buyers. I'm off market. I do probates, foreclosures, distressed homes. So I'm looking to get in that avenue. So I've got CRM, I've got website. So I just want to build something where I can not bother people all the time, but every 3 months send out maybe, this is the data, this is the market, But after a while, how do you continue that newsletter with stuff that's people want to keep seeing,
Yeah. And here's the deal. Data and market, they don't need that. They get that every day on the news. Now, sometimes it's not right and you can share them some information that'll set them straight. But what they care about is what's in it for them and what their biggest fear and concern is. So here's what I would do. First off, and you may have already done this, but having worked distressed properties, I would imagine that you were helping some sellers sell. Those people, they got to exhibit what your leadership is like in one of the toughest times of their life. So I would make sure that they're still in your database, even though what goes through a lot of people's mind is, they don't have any money. That's why they had to sell. But everybody turns things around. They may or may not become, but I'd make sure I'd stay in contact with them. Also, the people that bought those homes, whether you represented them or not, I would try to stay in contact with them because they are people who are someday going to need to buy another home. So make sure those people are added to your database. In terms of the content, here's what people care about, whether it's a newsletter, whether it's a social media post, whether it's what you mail out every single month, is they care about what they want to accomplish and they care about their fears that are getting in the way. So here's a great way to use AI. Identify who you think your ideal client is, right? And just get as specific as you can and maybe ask ChatGPT a few questions. Put in a prompt, help me identify my ideal client. Please ask me 5 questions and then give me an answer of who you think my ideal client is. And it'll spit out an answer, right? If you like it, and you go, man, that is my ideal client. Great, keep it. If not, keep refining it until it gets close to your ideal client. Then ask ChatGPT, what are the 10 things keeping my ideal client up at night? And then ask it, how does it make them feel? How do they want to feel? And what's the solution to their problem? Now, the solution to their problem, that's okay. I wouldn't rely too much on that for ChatGPT. It's more to kind of prompt some things because you have the solution to their problem. Here's what I would do if I want to go after sellers. What are the 10 things that sellers are worried about in today's market? And then you look for the opportunity you have to solve that, because you all do. You can overcome any of the obstacles sellers have in today's market. Think about it. If not, work with ChatGPT and prompt it out. And then that's what you send out. So now you have 10 pieces of content on what keeps your clients up at night. And so you write something in your newsletter. One article is, whatever the headline is, are you worried about this? Or 7 reasons most people do X. Then you articulate the challenges. They're going to go, yep, that's what I'm feeling. And then you bring yourself to the solution. Hey, here's how I solved that problem for one of my clients. Boom. And that's what goes into your newsletter. That's what goes into your social media post. If you're with Buffini and Company, part of what we have is the 10 reasons people are buying and selling a home right now. I would use that list. In fact, you don't even need to come up with your own newsletter. You get the flyers that you can send out that are already designed for those 10 things. But yeah, that's what I would do. Focus on their biggest concern and how you solve that concern.
Okay, thank you.
Kevin, also in Equities Elevate Marketing Center, there is a 12-month newsletter campaign. It is editable, but it's all put together for you to use if you'd like to utilize that.
And where'd you say that is?
That is in the Marketing Center in Elevate.
Okay.
We should have asked Jolie first. Would have saved 5 minutes of me flapping my gums.
All good information.
Thank you, guys.
Anybody else? I think we're top of the hour anyway. Hey, I really appreciate being with you. I hope you all found some value today. Here's what I'd love to leave you with is whether the market you're in is good or whether the market you're in is struggling, we are in for a ride. We're in, I talked about the pilot. We're in for some turbulence for at least a year or two and maybe longer. And what people crave right now is leadership. And there are people who want to buy and sell. And what they need is someone to lead them. And if you are waiting, even if you're busy, if you're not intentional, it's going to be a drag. And so I want you to be intentional. Set a clear goal, set a clear target, and then be intentional about the activity you do to reach that goal and make sure you're focused on leading your clients. If you lead with intention in today's market, you will achieve a level of success this year and will set yourself up to dominate when the market does shift, which will happen. Maybe not this year, maybe not next, but it will. Randy, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, Dave. And remember, pros have coaches. Strongly recommend that you schedule that coaching consultation. Let's everybody take their business to the next level, finish the year strong, focus on 5, and we'll see everyone on an upcoming web meeting again. Be safe.